I just saw the question mark by your name. Yes.
Is it me?
Tanya?
Tanya?
That's what I'm going to refer to
Is
you for
it
the rest of the
not me?
stream. Tanya?
Tanya?
Hey, we're back.
Happy almost Halloween.
Eve in the Eve in the Eve.
Halloween
Yeah, we're
Eve
back.
Eve.
Halloween Eve with Tanya
1,000 eyes
and
and
Nikki.
Tanya. I might be. I might not be.
It's actually Grimlock operating her body like a puppet.
Like
we both didn't eat dinner, so prepare for crunches.
And it's not wine on an empty stomach either. It's bourbon with apple cider.
I need to get some bourbon because I still have my rum, my buttered rum, and I just need to. Shout out to my pedicure that lasted less than a week.
Oh, that's trash. My nails are not done. I had black nails I was gonna put on, and then I just forgot until right now. Cheers. So tonight,
that's my first sip of alcohol. So this is going to be a blast.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers, one of my all-time favorite horror movies. Last year, I was like, Nikki, we have to do Invasion of the Body Snatchers last year because we did my other favorite last year, Nightmare on Elm Street. This is up there for me. And I think it's another one of those movies where the concept itself is what terrifies me. Like Nightmare on Elm Street, obviously, like the effects and stuff aren't scary anymore because, you know, technology has changed so much. But like the concept of this guy who murders you in your dreams is frightening. And so this is another one. We've been talking all month about my replacement phobia. It probably comes from this. Now that I think about it, I don't remember the first time I saw this. Do you?
Yeah, yesterday. I started watching it. So here's what happened. I was making flyers. We said Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I did not know that there was a 1956 version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers because I'd never seen it. So I watched that and I was like, I love this movie. Shout out to the costumes. I like the premise. I feel like any horror movies from the 50s like have like the potential to come across corny, but I try to put myself in the mindset of someone who's like seeing this at that time. And like it must have been terrifying. It's like the reason the Blob gets a pass, you know?
I love the Blob.
But yeah, so I made the flyer and we put it out and Tanya was like, wait a second. There's a 1956 one?
Yeah, so what happened, Nikki was like, which one? And I thought she meant which picture. And so I picked the picture that I liked, and it was the picture from the 1956 poster or whatever. And I didn't realize that until she was like almost done with the movie. And I was like, we're not watching the same movie. Whoops.
Yeah. And so then I had, hold on a second, text me. Well, yeah, so then I watched the new one and I got like halfway through it and I was like, okay. And then I ended up watching it, the rest of it last night because I was like, oh shit, I haven't finished that movie. So yeah, yesterday and like a couple weeks ago was my first time watching it. I like the 1956 one better, maybe because I saw it first. I feel like their fear was a little bit more palpable to me, but there's something about movies from the 1970s, especially horror movies. I always give shout out to soundtracks, but it's like it's like the same person was scoring them, like all of the movies. It's like doom doom doom, step 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 step, sin sin sin, you know, and yeah. But I did enjoy the movie. I don't know if it would be like a staple in my Halloween things, but I did enjoy it, and I'm glad I watched it because there's so many young actors in this who went on to become icons.
So I liked the 1956 one a lot, actually, but I still like the 1978 better, partially because I like the characters better. and I liked the science better.
Mm.
Like in the 1956 one, when she's in the tunnel, she kind of falls asleep and then comes back as the replacement person. And I remember that standing out to me as like, where was the pod, And
Mm.
so that like bothered me, but that's probably because I saw the 1978 one so many times that like it's in my mind that there needs to be that
That there needs to
pod,
be
that
a
the
pod.
plant needs to be near you.
Right.
Yeah. And also the endings. The ending of the 1978 one was far scarier to me.
Yeah, it took me. Should we spoil it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, guys, it came out in 78. I'm sorry. It's going to be spoiled.
I mean, don't be like me. Watch it because it's a classic.
Yeah, do watch it, but
Yeah, I was honestly, I guess we should just go through the movie.
Mhm.
Let's start at the beginning. I will
Let's
say that I
start
like
at
the
the very
difference between
beginning.
um
A very
the
good
first one.
place to start. When you read, you begin with A,
A,
B,
B,
C.
C.
When you sing, you begin with Do, Re, Mi. Do, Re, Mi. The first three words just happen to be. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm
Do,
done. I'm done.
re, mi.
Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti.
Boom, 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 boom. Shout out to Mito, our DM at Comic Con. He was like, "This is how you remember our name," and we were like, "Never forgetting
Ah.
it."
Anyway,
Yeah. What I like about the 1956 one, and I think this is where I'll shut up about it because we're not talking about that movie, is that the very beginning, you've got this raving man who's like, everybody, you've got to leave, and they're coming, and you're like, I'm not crazy. I'm a doctor. I swear I'm a doctor, and I'm not crazy. And everybody's like, what do you mean nobody is who they say they are? And they're all taking over. Like, they're like,
yeah.
nah. And then so the character of is it Matthew? Matthew?
I
Well,
don't
he's a
remember.
well, in the
Yeah,
1956
Matthew.
one,
Matthew. They're
Matthew is a
both named
doctor.
Matthew.
Yeah, he's Dr. Bennell. And so then he's like examining all these patients and he's like, wait a second, wait a second. So it took me a little bit to wrap my head around the fact that he was like, I was going to call him a food critic, sort of, from the health department.
It's a type of food critic.
Yeah, right? It's like the one you definitely don't want. I mean, they'll both make your restaurant tank, but yeah. So I thought that it was a clever way since we were dealing with plant life. I was annoyed that he was obviously in love with Homegirl. And they didn't get to like capitalize on that until, well, they didn't really get to capitalize on it at all.
Yeah.
But they held hands once or twice.
That was her work husband.
It was her work husband. You only get up and come to work half an hour early for work if it's your work husband.
I've never had a work husband.
Me neither.
Never had a work wife for that. Actually, I kind of had a work
I'm trying to think
wife
if I had a
once.
work wife. I think I kind of had a work wife.
She was like, I don't know if she was my work wife. She was kind of more like my work auntie.
I would call Carly. Shout out to Carly, my work wife.
I think I had a work auntie. Her name was Maggie. I miss you, Maggie. Moved back to New York.
Or however the kids do it with their fingers all weird now. I learned.
Yeah,
it's like they're throwing up gang signs.
I don't know what they do.
Yeah, see, I was just whatever. We're old. Boom, 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 boom.
You can do this one.
Well, yeah, I saw this. WTF? Is this a heart?
Yeah, you have to like.
It's a reach.
Yeah, this is it.
This
is it right here.
Nice try, Jen. Super future. Yeah, but yeah. So he's a health department, and I like that in the beginning, there's no mystery about where these pods are coming from. We know they're coming from outer space, and we know it's dangerous. And I think what's interesting, like from the 50s until like the 70s, is like people were very fascinated with outer space. Like everything was blamed on aliens, the Germans or the Russians, and that's just how it was commonly accepted. That was it. It had to be one of those terrible threes. So yeah, I like that we got the interspecies interaction so early. And then you're like, just like, oh, look at all these new flowers. That's cute.
Yeah, it's this mystery plant. I can't seem to categorize it as anything. I've never seen this before.
It's a discovery of a lifetime.
Yeah.
But whose life? Whose? Tanya?
I think also I'm not going to keep talking about 1956, but another reason, well, another reason why I liked the 1978 better was because they kind of get not completely into the why, but we understand the goals better of these replacements. This idea of a world where nobody feels anything and they're like kind of forming their new society, but they need bodies, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this world, but without all the pesky emotions.
You mean Odium was
Everybody's
their
on
king?
Xanax. So early?
It's
A
10 minutes.
Sanderson reference already?
I think we've done it earlier.
Yeah, we have. I'm sure we've opened with one.
Oh. I learned that you could create a marker on StreamYard, but I can't do that. Can you push B? See if it lets you do it.
Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, give me
Nope,
your
'cause I
pain.
couldn't create it.
Ah, boo. Maybe we need to update. But yeah, give me your pain, give me your worries. We're just gonna coexist. There's no emotions. Like you're not gonna love anyone, but you're not gonna hate them either. No
Mhm.
wars because everybody's just super placid and mad chill.
And if you're Vire, that sounds fucking dope. But if you're
Yeah,
Kaladin, it sounds like a nightmare.
like a nightmare. I can feel Syl withering away. Don't forget about me, Callan. We're gonna just do a Stormlight stream just for no reason, no context. We're gonna jump on and we're just gonna talk about Stormlight Archive and everything we liked because I was actually listening to The Way of Kings before we before we went live. But yeah, I do and like understanding their motive really early. And I do like that they were really clear about how this happens, you know?
Mhm.
And it was really I think that was scary. Like to see her boyfriend be like, "Oh, hey babe, let's like get it on before we go to bed."
Right,
And
he's
like,
making out with her.
she's like, "I have to work.
I gotta
Stop."
go
And
to
he's like,
bed.
"Come on, just let me finish.
No.
Just a
She's
tip,
like,
just a tip." And she's like,
no.
"Okay." You know? And it was really sweet. I'm like, "Oh, look at these guys.
This
They're
young
so
couple in
cute."
love.
Exactly. And then he wakes up and he was like, knocked over the vase, was sweeping it up, barely looked her in the eye, went to work like there was another woman. And I was like, she literally called after him and called after him, and he didn't even answer.
He's like, "Do I have to tell you everywhere I'm going?" It's like, "Oh, excuse me."
Hmm. I apologize for eating, except I'm not sorry.
Yeah, you're not sorry.
Not at all.
Just crunching away.
It's the crunching or the post nasal drip. You're welcome.
So delightful, Nicole. So delightful.
Oh, dear me.
Nikki?
I should just put Nicole and it would have been the same effect. Um, yeah. Yeah. So seeing his reaction and walk out and just like she's just stunned. And she still goes to work early. I would have been sitting at home like, okay. Excuse me, I'm gonna be late today.
Texting all hard. First of all, bitch.
You know? Like leaving a message with his secretary for him to receive when he gets to when he gets to work. Or a telegram.
The telegram.
But yeah, that show was like weird and very scary. And then after that, it just like watching just this Matthew,
But not
all
just
the
that, the
people.
party. Remember that we start with that lady at the party who keeps saying her husband is not who he is. And then at the
Mhm.
dry cleaner's
The
like,
dry
"That's not
cleaner.
my wife."
And everybody's like, "What do you mean? Y'all
Mhm.
just got into a fight? Like, why are you
You're
that away?"
because they tell the woman she's hysterical, basically. The dry cleaner guy, he's like, "Oh."
Just read a book that dealt heavily in false hysteria and incarcerating women in asylums.
Hmm.
Just because. Just because. I would tell you what happened in this book, but it's a spoiler and a major one. But yeah. Um, Yeah, she's hysterical. OMG, you can't be trusted. What do you mean? Of course it's your husband, your wife, your daughter, your whoever. And it's just like if you live with somebody, if you've ever lived with somebody, right? And they have an off day, you know right away.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They come in and it's like the whole Eeyore cloud is following them, or they're like they can't smile, or
Mm-hmm.
their footsteps are heavier. Just like all these things that you can do, like cues that you can take to be like, okay, something is off. And for the woman to come to the party and be like, he's not my husband. And I mean, I get it was at a party, everybody's like,
Right. She's on
you
that
know,
stuff.
you know, just drinking too much. But I mean, I would be curious. I'd be like, that girl was crazy, but I think I might like call her the next day and be like, do you remember at the party last night?
Because remember, she says what is her name? Did you write down her name? Matthew's work wife. Why do I only remember Matthew?
Let me just call her work wife.
Work wife. She says to the
Connie.
lady, she's like, you said Bonnie?
Connie.
Oh, I was like, you just make one up.
I did.
It's like, I don't remember it being
I'm gonna
Connie.
look it up.
Yeah, she tells this woman, like, let's talk tomorrow. Like, call me at work. This is where I am, because I think I know what you're talking
Elizabeth.
about. Elizabeth. That's a very easy name to remember.
No. Is it? It should
Clearly
be.
not.
I have family members with that same name. And I still couldn't do it. And we had an Elizabeth in our stream last week, actually. Elizabeth.
Oh, I was about to say, what movie did we do last week? I couldn't remember. I was like, why does my name say Tooth Duppy? Teeth Duppy. I was like, what is that in reference to? I had to really sit and think about it. And I was like, oh, right. That's what a Teeth Duffy is.
Elizabeth Driscoll.
So yeah, she, gets what this lady's saying because she's experiencing the same thing. But of course, they never get to link up.
Nope. Because the next day she's like, it's fine.
Everything's okay now.
No, I was tripping.
I was bugging. You know me, girl.
I'm like, I was just looking at like our body parts disappearing into the ether.
Ghost.
You're like just shoulders and torso
and hands. Hands revealed too much.
You guys, we've done so many streams this month. This is our 6th one.
We're just crazy at this point.
Yeah, like what are we even talking about? But yeah, just having, I mean, talk about being gaslit by like botanicals. I
know.
And it's like they weren't even smoking them, so you don't even have that like to blame. Ugh. And like, if I saw one of those big ass pods, honestly, I would turn around and I would walk the other way.
Absolutely.
But it just looks gross.
Yeah, they look disgusting. But also, what would you do if you, for example, saw someone who looked almost like me, but underdeveloped, just like laying down and
with
covered in
the dried cum on your face?
Yeah, with dried.
I mean, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, I guess so. I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking more fuzz, but
white turns to gray. Okay, no, actually, it looks like when you're in elementary school and you used to put glue on your hand, like the liquid glue on your hands and peel it off. Fine.
The Elmer's
those
glue.
Delicate sensitivities look like glue.
So actually, that's what Grimlock looked like today. It was on his hands and his hair.
No, never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'd be terrified.
Spa,
I feel like I would spray you with water. That would be my instinct. I'd be like, "Oh my god, what's on Tanya's face?"
I feel like I would try to wake you up. But if you were standing in front of me and I'm looking at this copy of you, I think I'd want to kill it with hammers.
Hammers?
Nikki, if I'm standing next to you and I've been with you this whole time and we go into a room and there's an underdeveloped copy of you under a thin film just laying there.
Oh, you mean like on it? Like, yes. Okay. I thought you meant you met me in the streets and you're like,
oh, no.
I'm talking about a little something right here.
Let me get you. Let me get that for you.
You know,
No,
I'd
no,
be
no. I
like,
mean the scene in the spa where he
yeah,
starts to feel thirsty and tired, and then they realize there's that body in there, and then they
yada
realize
yada
it's the
yada
same
yada.
height as him and kind of his same build, and they start realizing it's him, but like still developing. Yeah, we'd
Like,
kill that with hammers
I
for
don't
sure.
even know that I would have like recognized that. You know, I'd have been like, oh my god, there's a random body in here, but I don't know that I would have noticed that at first. I would have like it would have he would have had to like sprout the hair first for me to be like, oh
Yeah, I guess
shit.
I would think it was just like we found a body and I wouldn't hit it with hammers.
Yeah,
But if I knew that people keep saying they're getting replaced,
yeah. Like, is this how it happens?
we
Is it
might have to
happening
kill it
here?
with hammers.
Yeah, I'd be into that. I'm
And
into
then you know what?
like,
I'm realizing it's
is it
another thing where
homicide?
it's
I feel like it's what's it called when you kill a plant?
planticide, herbicide.
Floricide? Herbicide?
Herbicide
Floricide?
sounds good.
Yeah. It's technically they're not human, so are you really is it really murder?
I'm realizing this is no, I guess herbicide is like what you use to kill plants, not the act of killing a plant.
Well, let's go ogle that.
Um, what was I saying? Oh, the once again being afraid to go to sleep. I have a trend here. Maybe because
Mhm.
I've always had nightmares.
Um, I've always had nightmares as well. And I just don't know how I would stay awake. As someone who's really good at staying awake for really long periods of time, but now accustomed to just going to bed, I don't know that I would be able to do it. And I love when they're in the when they get back to the office and she's like, "What's this?" She's like, "Speed." Chomp, 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 chomp. And
That was one of the things I
how
actually
do I
loved
put
with
this?
the 1956 when he's just handing out pills. Nobody asks what it is. He's like, "Oh, this kid's claiming his mother's not his mother. Here, take this. Oh, we need to stay awake. Don't ask what it is. Here, just take this." And it's just like
Aspirin,
there. It's not in the pharmacy. He's not
you
writing
know?
prescriptions. They're
It's
just in
like
his office.
just no dose, just there. I mean, did you even need a prescription for things in those times? Um, but yeah, they're just like popping pills. And you know, some of those things that they were doing are not fun. You will stay awake a long time though. DM me. I'll tell you more. I had a friend the other day that I was talking to, and he was like, I was like, what are you up to? He's like, have lots of drugs, gonna go do lots of drugs. And I was like, all right, cool, cool. And then another friend was like, oh yeah, no, I saw them. It was like a pharmacy. And I said, oh,
Oh,
you
well,
know,
somebody had quite the night.
inflation's a bitch, you gotta get in where you where you fit in. Not that I condone as
We
I
all know
like
the
wipe my
we all
nose.
know drugs won the war on drugs.
That might be one of the funniest things Tanya has ever said to me in a space where I was supposed to be quiet.
What, that drugs won the war on drugs?
Yeah, when we were at Spoons and Tunes and we were like,
Oh,
uh,
because we were watching all those
the
anti-drug
Say No
PSA.
to Drugs, the cartoon episodes. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
was a
yeah.
perfect formula.
It's just crazy. They
As I
fought
like
so
now play with
hard.
my nose. Um,
They
I
fought
swear
so
to
hard
God,
and drugs won.
he sure did. Hallelujah. But yeah, so they're passing out drugs to like stay awake, and that I thought that was really funny. But like everybody really tried to, except for Matt, tried to really carry on with their lives.
What did you think about Leonard Nimoy's character, the psychiatrist
Well,
who's out
first of all,
there?
I was super happy to see him
Mm.
because I love him. And secondly, it made me think about like he was a little bit dismissive of everything that was happening, but when both of these movies, but they're coming up at a time when psychology is not a respected profession and not
Mhm.
taken seriously as science.
Mhm.
And you kind of get that. You kind of get that sense that they're not taking him seriously, but also that he's supposed to be like, a pioneer in his field and well respected. And then
And
like
also
pose,
a hack, apparently,
yeah, and
according to
that's
Jeff Goldblum's character.
because who wants to talk to a head shrinker?
He didn't get to
Um,
read his poetry.
oh, I would have hated that.
If you couldn't read your poetry.
No, if he had read his.
Yeah.
As a lover of the poems, I would have absolutely hated it. Doesn't he have a jazz band?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We'll just let that silence hang. All right. So, yeah, no, it was really fun to see him in there. But the problem with Leonard Nimoy is like every time I see him, it's just Spock.
Yeah.
Like I can't do
Yeah.
anything. I can't do anything else with that face. It's always going to be Spock, Doctor Spock. Excuse me.
That's right.
And
Put respect on his name. Give the man his title.
why is he not is he American? He's American? Yeah. I feel like he should have been like knighted. I feel like people are gonna watch the stream and be like, she just keeps playing with her nose. When I swear to God, my allergies are so bad for the last 2 weeks, and my nose is itching, which I think means that somebody wants to kiss you. Who's thinking
Yes,
about
he's
kissing me?
American.
Okay, slide into my DMs. Cuffing season coming. Anyway, um, yeah, no, I enjoyed seeing him, but he really pissed me off because I was like, come on, you're really not gonna believe these things. Like if you're going around talking about pseudoscience, right? Um, like you don't have space for the potential that there are things that you just don't understand. Like Van Helsing said last week. He was like, "You're a man of science, but don't you need to allow space for things that you just don't understand and may not be able to be explained yet."
Hmm.
And he just refused to do it. Although, if you came to me and was like, "Oh my god, this plant is taking over. This plant ate my children," and like now they're sitting quietly in their room at all at all times, I would be like, "Yeah,
Oh
sure."
my gosh,
Like
that
that's
makes
the
me think of
melatonin.
well, no, that makes me think of the remember we were talking about changelings.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember if we were talking about on the stream or we were just talking, but how like for a lot of kids, like signs of autism don't really start showing until they're like 2. And so people
Mm,
believe that their children had been replaced
yeah.
by changelings. And that's kind of I guess that's what this would be if suddenly my kids were just quiet and just like
So
sat
well
down
be
together and didn't do
no
weird
emotion.
things to me. I'd be like, whose kids are these?
I don't know. You might just read. You might be like, "All right."
Read first and then question it.
Like, are they still sitting down?
I'd be really suspicious. Like, why is their room so quiet? And then I go
Yeah.
and they're just sitting there. I'd probably check their pulses.
Mm.
Like, why are you guys just
What if
sitting
they
here?
were covered in like plant oozy?
I'd shake them.
You'd shake them. No hammers.
No, no hammers. I'd shake them first, just in case. Unless they were both standing next to me and I saw these plant thingies and I knew for sure, like, oh,
Mm.
this is some weird shit. Well, then the hammers would come out.
You know what I would have liked to have seen in
Mm,
this movie? Like, I understand that the two things apparently, the replacement body and the real person apparently can't coexist at the same time, which I
mm-mm.
respect. But I would have liked some like, you know, go back to the future, like you're not allowed to see your like the older you or whatever happening. Um, like maybe there's this transitional period where they're both like kind of
Aware.
sharing awareness. That would have been cool. Because the scary thing about them is like not only does it look like you, but they take all your memories. So you can ask
And
them all the questions.
like the guy had a bloody nose. And
And the other
suddenly
one.
the other body started like so even like your scars, your tattoos, like all those things are gonna be there too. And they have your memories. So how do you know? I've been
Mm.
questioning my husband for like 2 weeks. I'm like, are you really you?
Uh, how does he respond to that?
Well, he keeps insisting that he's really him, but I'm like, well, that's what a copy would say though.
Mm.
And I was like, you're doing all these new things you weren't doing before. He was like, I'm maturing. And I was like, see, the one I know wouldn't say that.
You mean as in growing a new version of yourself maturing?
Okay, so you see it.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. You know what also is scary about this movie?
Mhm.
The fact that somebody's so willing to call, like, the CIA and the FBI and all these things, and that they have access to them. Like, what happens if you call the FBI? Not that I'm going to.
Oh, I was
I know
just
you're
about to
listening, but please
what
tell me, is
you want
there
me to
a
call?
number? No, I
Hello,
like having money.
FBI?
I mean, since you're here already, like, why don't you slide into our comments or our chat and
Hey,
tell us what
FBI.
happens? Like, is there I mean, we talked about 911 and being
Like, you
different in
press
other
0
countries,
for
but, like
operator?
yeah.
Yeah, I have no
Can you still
idea.
press 0 for operator? Is that a thing?
I don't well, no, because it's not an open, like, line anymore.
What happens if you just dial 0 on your phone?
Would you like me to do it?
Let's do it together. It's a social experiment. 0. I pushed 8, of course. It just says call ended.
Dial 911.
Oh.
For directory assistance, hang up and dial 411.
Oh,
For difficulty making or completing calls, hang up and dial star 611. For alternate billing of a call, hang up and dial.
Yeah, the first one was before I put it on speaker, said, "If this is an emergency, call 911." Well, that's
mine
good to
just said
know.
call ended. So I would be screwed.
Yeah.
I just can't. Androids can't call 0, I guess.
Maybe it's because of different phone companies.
Maybe I should call my carrier and be like,
Hey, what's up with that, bro?
yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
Not the
he's just
FBI.
like,
We're
yeah, I'll call
like
it.
a
Well, he's a
lunatic.
friend at the FBI.
He knew somebody, I think. But it's just like it's weird. Like, how many calls do you think the FBI gets? Like,
Right. Just like,
like a day or a week about people claiming crazy shit. Like, I know where Jimmy Hoffa's body is, or like, actually, I'm Hitler. You know, like I'm
yeah.
sure this shit happens all the time. Um, and well, now that we've acknowledged that, like, you know, unidentified space, I forgot what they're called now, not UFOs, whatever they're called now. They're changing everything on me. But now that we've acknowledged the
Back
existence
in
of
my day, they were called UFO.
exactly the UFOs,
Back in my day, Halloween was cold.
facts. I'm not mad though,
I am.
because I can go out and live my thoughtiest life on Halloween, should I be so inclined.
I had a skeleton sweater dress that I was looking forward to wearing.
And keep
Now
telling her
I'm
she
just
should wear it
gonna-
anyway.
Yeah, but then I'll be all hot. I don't want to be uncomfortable.
Just
Now I have
shower
to
when you
be.
go home.
Now I have to be a generic spooky bitch. I'm gonna be home. I'm gonna be sitting right outside giving out candy.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
So
then
you
I'll
can
be
go inside to
sweating
cool
walking
off.
around the block with the kids. Like, that'll feel awful.
I'll just make the candy come to you.
No, but I'm gonna take the kids trick or treating.
Ah. I would wear it anyway. Just forgo your undergarments. Let everything breathe.
Flap around. Get arrested.
Why are we allowed to
Anyway.
stream at all?
I don't know.
What were you talking about? It's just like floppy breasts are in my head now. It's nice been talking to you guys. See you
All right,
next
and that's our stream. Good night.
I'm calling the FBI to make crazy talks and expecting somebody to call you back.
Yeah. Like, you work
you
for
know
the
that
health
it's crazy.
department, bro. Like,
He was like,
You
it's
know what I
a
mean?
government agency. I'm like, but like state government, you know. Nobody
Right.
cares. If he should, I mean, he would have been better off saying that, you know what, there's a salmonella outbreak in our kitchens here. We need somebody to come and help or something food related. Because then it could have been a scandal. But the problem is, as we see in these movies, that like similar to our homegirl in a Joyride, they're in the import export business. I almost watched that movie last night. This shit is so funny. I'm like,
It's
I'm
hilarious.
gonna watch it like once a quarter. But yeah, they're like, that's something that I think was that I enjoyed more about the 56 version is that they're like people are lining up. They're like, if you've got family in Tuscaloosa, stand up here. Here are your
Mhm.
pods. Here's your bus. Bye. And they were just like deploying the pods. And you just know that there's no way that they're going to win. The situation is so desperate. I think that's actually what makes it the most. There's so
When
many
they're on
things
the
that
way
make it
to the
scary, but like,
airport, it's like when you know they've lost.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Because
mean,
like
the
you
people,
already look suspicious. You have no luggage. And then he's like, oh, we're going to pick someone up. But like she does something to like show emotion.
She does a few things to show emotion.
Yeah, she
How
wasn't
about
very good at hiding her feelings and her
she was
emotions
the
at all.
worst. And like my emotion would have been running in those clunky heels.
Oh my God.
I was like, all these women dashing. And I guess it's like, as someone who loves being barefoot, I do not fancy running through like tall weeds and stuff with no shoes on. But I feel like I fancy even less in doing that with clunky heels. So it's like, whoo, it's a
Well, clunky
struggle for
heels
me.
aren't as hard to run in, especially if they have a platform.
These knees, though.
Oh,
These
my knees are trash. I'd shatter into pieces. But I'd still attempt running in my shoes before going barefoot. I hate being barefoot.
I would eventually take them off. I just like and then I would sprint.
Well, that's true. If I'm running from pod people, like it really does nothing. None of that matters anymore.
The fact that they would even run. I mean, I had a little bit of problems with them not getting emotional because it seemed that they would get agitated when people weren't like, weren't like
going along with what
going
they
along
were
with
saying.
them. They weren't like this emotionless guy. Who just
Actually, one of
traveled.
the things that I did, I particularly loved in the 1978 is their reaction when there's enough of them and they realize somebody's different.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Oh
that
my God. I loved
the
it.
screaming
It was
thing.
so dope. It's so cute.
Oh, such a high pitched scream. I was like, oh,
I won't do it because it sounds horrible, but
it
yeah,
sounds
it's
terrible.
terrifying. But
It's like worse
like,
than the screaming goat.
I love screaming goats.
Me too. There's one in the Muppet Haunted Mansion, which I like really enjoy every time it makes an appearance. Actually, we should do that next year.
To the list.
To the list we go. Let me add that right now. Yeah, the narking, the narking that goes on during these things is like wild. And I just, the biggest surprise to me about this movie was Jeff Goldblum's girl. We should call her a woman. The woman who Jeff Goldblum was dating. She makes it to the end.
She's the final girl.
She's the final
Question
girl.
for you. So when you were watching it, especially since the 1956 is different, did you know that Matthew had been converted?
No, I didn't, but I was suspicious of him when they show those last few scenes in the lab. Like at first I was like, well, maybe he's pretending. But then I was like, no, he doesn't seem like he's pretending. And like obviously when he sees Homegirl and he goes like I was like, okay, well, we get it. But there was just something weird about him walking alone towards that like cathedral building or wherever he was walking. Wherever he was walking to. And I was like, this doesn't feel like, I feel like they're trying to give me a gotcha. And they sure did. They sure did. I like that he didn't survive though. I did really appreciate that. And it was a nice surprise that Homegirl did, whose name I'm going to
I don't
look up because
I'm bad at this every time.
Really disrespectful on some level. Nancy, Veronica Cartwright, Nancy Belichick. Yes. I loved her.
Our final girl.
She's 75 years old.
I have a confession. I'm 75 years old. No, I'm just kidding. I did not. I forgot that Leonard Nimoy died.
Oh, you mean like in real life?
In real life.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely forgot.
Wait, so did you like Google him and you were like,
I looked and I was like, is he alive? Oh, no, he's not alive. And he was quite old when he died.
Okay. He was. There's that documentary about him that I actually that I really
His
liked.
son was at Comic-Con talking about his memoir.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, um, Witches of Eastwick is something we should do too. It's a
which is
good
a
one.
Easter.
Yeah.
Have I seen that? I can't remember if I've
That's the one
seen it.
with
I know
Jack
what it is.
Nicholson. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what it is. I just can't remember if I've actually seen it.
I like it. He's like such a cat in that movie. I'm gonna add that to the list too. Witches of Eastwick. Yeah, I think overall I do really like this movie. I think
What did you think about the special effects? Sorry, cutting you off.
oh no,
But
please cut me off. Unless it's with my wine. I liked the plants. I liked the plant effects. It was creepy. They were creepy. It doesn't matter that those effects are old. Like like I said, you got to respect the time in which they were made. But I thought it was really creepy. Like, you know what it reminded me of? I saw this documentary about like the secret life of trees and mushrooms, and like how mushrooms, like what you see at the top is just like the fruit, but their
Mhm.
actual like their network is all these little like roots and stuff that are underneath that are underground, and they communicate with each other. And that to me was like, oh my God, these pods are reaching out and they're like tapping into the person and then covering them. It's very S-word-esque, which I did not appreciate. But you know, what's
I hadn't
horror
thought about
without a
that.
few cobwebs?
I hadn't thought about that.
Hmm. I mean, at least it's plants. Like if I mean, obviously would not be doing that if any creatures of that ilk
No,
were in this movie.
no,
We will
definitely
never
not.
do the S word movies.
No, or really any insects. Like I just
Insects I don't
no,
mind, but I wouldn't do the fly because that's kind
I
of
would.
gross.
It's disgusting. I hate close-ups of insects so much.
Hmm.
Just disturbs my spirit.
It doesn't make you go, ugh. It does feel icky.
Yeah, I don't
It
like
does feel
it.
icky. Do you think those
I
would have made a good salad? The pods? Like they're
no.
very cabbagey and kale-y.
I feel
What
like
if you
they'd be.
steamed them?
I feel like they'd be thick like aloe, but be bitter
Hmm. You do get
because they
bitter.
like fold around a whole person. So the leaves have to be pretty sturdy.
Like the ones in Dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think not like Boston lettuce, but like aloe thick.
I love that as like a stage name.
Boston lettuce.
No, aloe thick.
Aloe thick. Could add that.
Uh,
I could add that to my bios. Right now
yeah,
it's
right.
handsome middle-aged woman, attractive nuisance.
I mean, I like Boston lettuce too. I think
Boston
Boston lettuce
lettuce.
is a great band name. And then the front
I'm gonna
singer could
add
be
Boston
aloe thick.
lettuce to my bio.
Yeah. I wish I knew where my document was where I used to keep like random band names that came to mind. But I've lost it because I've had many thins since then.
I'm
The
gonna
Boston
forget
one.
why I changed this to Boston lettuce.
Well, I was gonna say I'll remember, but the internet will.
We
Oh, sorry, you were asking me a question about something in this movie.
were talking about effects, and I think,
Mm,
but I talk about all the time how much I love
mm. Let me tell you
practical
about
effects.
practical effects in this movie. I was watching it last night and I was hungry. And so I flipped out one of my, convenient delivery food service apps. We don't get sponsored by them. So I'm not going to tell you which one. But I was scrolling through and I was looking at food that was trash because I was in a trash food mood because, sometimes you like that. And it was the point where one of the pods, like second half of the movie, where they're at Matt's house. Is it okay if we call him Matt? We're at Matthew's house. And like the scene where the pod is crowning. I was like, what I lost my entire appetite. I told Tanya, I texted her, I was like, dude, something about like the fact that watching this movie while trying to order food is a great way to save money. Like I didn't eat the rest of the night because I was so grossed out. So yeah, the practical effects, they work. They're gross, they're scary. Like I said, like things just don't like today. Okay, like what would it look like today? I don't know. I don't care. I don't need a remake of this movie.
I
BT
think I'd
dubs.
want practical effects again
Yeah, I
instead of
don't want it to be.
CGI.
And you could make it really gross. with
All
advances in makeup.
slimy.
Blech. I mean, they could really just like use real placenta, you know? Yeah. They could just use real placenta and it'd be like as creepy and gross. But yeah, no, I like that. I like that about. I mean, I like practical effects in general.
Mhm.
I do like CGI for some things, but others just
Yeah, I
like
mean
let's
CGI
get
absolutely has
creative.
its place. Yeah, CGI absolutely has its place, but there's something really special about practical effects.
Hmm.
They generally hold up better
Yeah, yeah.
because as, CGI develops and gets more advanced, you look back at the old stuff and you're like, "Ugh, I can't believe I ever fell for that."
That's how I feel about Ultra HD TVs.
You can see people's pores. It's a
I
bit
like
much.
watching now, and like the way that things move in there are just like really off-putting to me because I don't have one of those things. I like have this
It's too
whatever.
realistic.
It's too realistic. I'm like it's off-putting to me. So when I see it, I'm like, wait, why does it look like this? I want it to be flat. I don't need the depth. I just want it to be
Yeah.
flat and move around kind of like this, you know? So that's always a little off-putting. I just said that I wouldn't want to see a remake of this, but I feel like I feel this way because I don't know how. You know what? It's because I don't want an explanation of anything. I just want the plants to come or the pods to come or the people to start turning. Like we got
Yeah.
the, like we understand that these plants are coming from another planet and this is how they're propagating their species. Got it. But it would end up like we'd have some backstory of some failed romance on another planet that like gave the
Right.
birth to like some, whatever that came and is like
Or their
finding his
planets
meaning of
their
existence.
planet's dying and they just need a place to go. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. I want them to just be I want to be confused and never find out and be forever haunted by the fact that I have no idea
Amazing.
where these things came from or why.
Remember those days? Remember those days?
Sorry.
Wow. I was gonna be like, is that what she said?
That was my stomach.
That was scary. Practical effects, ladies and gentlemen. I what else did I like about this movie? As we're talking about it, I feel like I like it more than in the beginning when we started. Um I
I
mean
enjoy
I
it a
would
lot because of I like just the general idea, that there's people are being replaced. And if you fall asleep, you might be next. And
you're
nobody's
making me
gonna listen
side
to
eye
you.
all my plants.
All my plants are dead.
Well, now you
So
know the solution. If there's ever a plant invasion, send them
bring
to
it to my
Tanya's.
house.
Don't bring them
They'll
here.
die.
I'll nurse them back to health.
Cactus, dead. Any plant,
I should give you one of
dead.
my snake plants.
It'll die in a week.
They're really sturdy and hardy plants.
That's what they told me about cacti.
Finicky.
And what's the other one? The cacti-like one?
Aloe?
No.
Other succulents?
Yes, succulents. Any type of succulent. That's the word I was looking for. Succulent Chinese meals.
Suckling pig.
I'll send you that video. a, a meal? A succulent Chinese dinner?
Yeah, okay, I need context for sure. Please send that to me. Yes. Yeah. No, so Tanya kills plants, I save them. Tanya kills plants, I save them.
Tanya? Is that your girl?
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, the replacement thing, not being able to trust the people around you or trust your own senses. Like you're absolutely being gaslit. Oh,
Yeah.
that's another one we should copy. I was watching that the other night. Gaslight. Have you ever
Gaslight?
watched it? The
No.
movie Gaslight? There's a 1944 one.
Wait,
And
is it the yellow wallpaper? Which is called
no,
Gaslight?
no, it's not the yellow wallpaper. I mean, because she was kind of crazy for real in yellow wallpaper. In Gaslight, essentially this woman's husband is messing with the actual gaslights because he's been doing things behind her back. I won't give it all away. And I mean, even though it was from like 1944, but instead of when she brings it up, instead of being, even lying to her, he just makes her think she's crazy. And the whole movie, he's making her think she's more and more crazy and making her question the things she's seeing and, her own reality. And that's where the term gaslighting comes from.
Mm-hmm. Hold on a second. I need to read the. I'm reading the synopsis for the yellow wallpaper. It's so funny. I was watching something the other day, and so I wish I could remember what it was. It was something newish, and I laughed so hard because one of the characters was like, "All right, I'm gonna need you to turn down the gaslight," and I was like, it was so funny the way that they used it because he was like, "No, no, no, don't gaslight me, but I'm gonna need you to turn it down." I was like,
We should watch
That's great
Gaslight
writing.
together and
Yeah.
talk about it. And then we can just talk about gaslighting and how people use it wrong. Like, did he gaslight you? Is he just an asshole?
Yeah. Yeah. Throwing all these terms around like without intention is the reason why people thought psychology was fake.
Mm-hmm.
And
Everything's a trauma
pseudoscience.
response.
Oh my God.
I like orange lipstick. It's a trauma response
To what?
to the candy corn I overate.
So why? I mean, let's unpack this.
Let's unpack this.
Let's unpack this. Yeah, no, I mean, this movie is really interesting to me in many ways because like you're taking the concept of plants from outer space, right? What year did Little Shop of Horrors come out?
80 something.
80 something. So you're taking the concept of like alien plant light coming and like infecting
Hold
you,
on a
like
second, because Little Shop of Horrors is a movie based on a
a
play.
play. Yeah.
So when was the play? The movie was 86. The musical. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a movie based on a play based on a movie.
There's a book. Howard Ashman. You guys, it all comes back to reading is the whole point here. Let's say book Little Shop of Horrors by Howard Ashman.
Wait, is the book based off the original film?
Let's see. Is a horror comedy rock musical with music by Alan Menken and a book by Howard Ashman. I'm looking. Let's see. Blah blah blah. Okay. 1986. Okay, I'm gonna have to Google that separately. Stand by.
Because the play was 1960.
Oh. Well, then maybe that's the oldest. Little Shop of Horrors. Da, 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 da.
I mean, the film. The film was 1960. Then there was a play about the film, and then they made a movie based off the play about the film.
Yes.
And then the
musical.
Another play musical came back based off the film that's based off the musical that's based off the film.
Yes. It all comes back to words, guys. It all comes back to words. I love Little Shop of Horrors. I don't know why we haven't done that yet.
I don't know. I love it too.
Jackie would come back for that. Maybe my cousin Natty would come for that. Yeah, too. It's a movie that we watched over and over again every time we came back here to visit from overseas. Yeah, but the idea of like some alien plant like coming and taking over and like, and I think the worst thing about it is that all you have to do is fall asleep. In the 56 one, all you did was like fall asleep and you woke up and you're like, I'm now Nikki. But in this one, you actually got to see the process happening, like the plant body connection. The thing is creeping all over you.
Mm-hmm.
That was scary. I don't.
It was very scary.
I don't like it. Yeah. I would watch it again. Like if it was on TV and I was changing channels and it was on, I would stick to it. I don't know if I would actively seek it out to watch it. Maybe if I was going to show it. Like, it's the type of movie that when I go home to visit my family, I'll watch with my siblings,
Mhm.
right? Because I feel it's the type of movie that you should watch with other people.
My siblings wouldn't stand for it.
No?
No, they'd like, what is this bullshit, Ton? You always have us watching some bullshit. And I'd be like,
No, my siblings hate my movies too. I can relate.
yeah, that's why we have
Every
each
once in
other.
a while, my brother will call me. He's like, yo, I watched this movie and it was so weird. You should watch it. Like, it feels like the type of shit that you watch. And I'd be like, what? And he'd be like, sorry to bother you. And I'm like, you know what? It is Nikki
Yeah.
Core.
Nikki Core.
I loved it. Why haven't we done that movie? I don't know. I'm going to add it to the list too.
Add it to the list.
Because that is I love movies that just don't make sense, right? Like, they make sense. They're just like somebody's trying so hard to get something out of their brain, and it's just like, no, I take that back. I love movies that are absurd.
Yes, I do love movies
Because
that are absurd.
I don't know if you've seen, if you've watched. I saw the TV Glow yet.
Mm-mm.
You watched that? That's one of those movies that's absurd. You get to the end and you're just like, huh, I think I liked it. And then I watched it one in a theater and I was like, damn, I liked that movie. And then I got out and I saw it at Nighthawk. I got out and I was just like on the train coming back home. And it was just like 3 film majors talking about, well, what do you think, like, the deeper meaning of this? I was like, oh my God. Just let the man, because it's A24, the same people who did like Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I was just like, why can't you guys just let the movie be? Because first of all, you weren't even born in the decade that this movie takes place in, I can tell. Second, so you have no cultural context. And for me, like, everything makes so much sense. But it was really strange, and I did enjoy that movie. And this kind of feels like one of those things where you're just like, what did I really just watch? Did everybody lose? Like, everybody lost in this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm
Like,
into
we
that.
did not beat the aliens.
No, we didn't. It was impossible. Like, their invasion was decisive and complete. They won. Like, what are you going to do? Or, you know what? I think the other parts that creeped me out was when he was like calling. He was like 911, or he's like, operator, can I be connected? And she's like, hello, Mr. Matthew, last name.
Yeah.
And he's like, how do you know it's me?
Yeah.
She's like, this is recorded line. Terrible, 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 terrible.
Yeah, that was really scary. He's like, I didn't tell her my name. It's like, oh my God, though. Because
like, imagine if you called 911 and they were like, Tanya?
Yeah. It'd be very creepy. Like, bitch, I didn't even say anything yet. I haven't revealed myself.
And this was before caller ID.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of you guys probably don't remember a time without caller ID, but
well, there was a time where you answered the phone and you had no idea who was calling or who they were calling for, because we all shared the same phone in our house. I saw this post somebody made. They were talking about their kid who was like young, like school aged. And I can't remember what happened. It was like somebody couldn't reach somebody, blah, blah, blah. But the kid was like, man, I wish we just had a cell phone that we just kept at home that anyone could use. And somebody was like, he was like, my friend, that is a landline. Because they were like, oh, wouldn't it be great if, like, you know, there's just one here. So, like, anybody could answer it and anybody can use it. And, you know, it's like, oh,
you mean God. Like the past?
Like, we've come full circle.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a landline, like, but I want one.
I want one too, but they're hard to get now. Because they tell you it's a landline, but it's actually the phone connected to your internet, which is not a true landline.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to use it in
connection for that.
I have the wall connection here, and I tried to plug a phone into it just to see, and it didn't work.
Boo.
Yeah, you have to set up.
I have to say though, those landline phone bills were crazy expensive.
But in a disaster. Well, then again, nobody else has a fucking landline, so who are you even gonna call? You can call 911. Really? I don't think mine does.
My parents do, and when I
like a true landline, like not one connected to the cable.
I think it plugs into a thing. I don't know.
Mm.
I'll have to ask, but or inspect when I go home. But the crazy thing about it is that every time I call, and I don't call that one often because I'll just like call my parents. But I will call the house every once in a while. Like I know like everybody's there. And the weird thing about it is that it'll ring like 6 times on my end and then go to voicemail, and it'll only ring like once or twice at home. So nobody even has a chance to get to the phone. It just goes boop.
Mm.
And they're like, "Oh, did you call?" I'm like, "Why didn't you guys answer the phone? I was just calling." They're like, "It just rang once." And I'm like, and I've witnessed this. So yeah, kind of trash.
You
So maybe
tested
it's
it.
not. Yeah. Yeah. But shout out to landlines. I miss those. I miss those. I miss long phone cords like
Oh
this,
yeah, just sit there twirling it.
twirling it around your fingers. Like, how do you know that somebody's on the phone? Because the cord is all the way to their room until we came up with wireless. But that's besides the point.
Well, actually, can I tell you something funny? What
Sure.
I used to do to get around the whole landline thing is I had dial up. I'm giving away my age here. I had dial up, so we had a separate phone line. Exactly. So we had a separate phone line so that you wouldn't get kicked off the phone if somebody, or you wouldn't get kicked off the internet if somebody like picked up the phone or whatever. So we had a second phone line.
Oh, wait, let's back up. That was a thing.
Yeah. You're
That was a
downloading this
thing.
36-hour download and somebody picks up the phone and kills the connection.
You don't know sorrow
Mhm.
until your
Well,
audio galaxy.
Well, and if you didn't know, your audience, you didn't know, you used to also be able to call to find out the time. So what I would do is on the second line, I would call the time and then just let it play so that because my friends would know what time to call me. So that way it would come as a call, like the phone wouldn't ring, basically. It would
Oh,
just
like a
be,
call waiting.
yeah, they would come through the call waiting. I could
Mm.
answer it without my mom knowing I was up or on the phone. So I would
Mm.
just call the time and just sit there listening to them tell me the time and the weather over and over and over. And then I'd hear beep, beep. I'm like, hey, girl, hey.
I used to hate when my phone rang like really late at night, like after 10 o'clock, and you'd just be like, especially if it was a boy.
Oh, no boy would even dare at my house.
Oh, they dared.
They did not dare with my house. My mom was terrifying.
And I think that they would just like get together. You know who you are. You know who you are. I still get in trouble for that phone call. I'll tell you about that later. I'll tell you about it. No, I'll tell you about that later. I was about to say, I don't think my
Yeah, it's
parents
time for us
would
to
say
go.
that. Yeah, it's 10:03. So my verdict is I like the movie. I would watch it again. I understand why you like it because I think you like to scare yourself with these things.
I do. And then I
Yeah.
can't sleep and it's a whole
And you
thing.
can't sleep. It's like the only thing I watched Late Night with the Devil over the weekend, and I did
haven't seen
really
that.
like that movie. I did really
You know
like that.
what?
I recommend watching that.
I watched a thriller I really liked, Trap by M. Night
Oh, I almost watched that.
Shyamalan.
Shyamalan.
Shyamalan. Him. It's good. I
Yeah.
watched it. I ended up watching it twice.
No shit.
Yeah. Not like back to back, but like I watched it again a few days later. I was looking for something to watch and I was like, well, I'll watch this again. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah,
Good
it
job
gives
with
me
it.
a little bit of anxiety. And I will watch it. Like, you know what I did last night is I was gonna watch that, and then I decided to give Nobody Asked for This a second chance.
Oh, I
And
haven't watched that.
then I watched all of it. Like I'd watched the first 2 episodes and I was like, but then I watched the rest of it. I was like, actually, you know what? I really like this.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. I haven't watched it, but I know what you're talking about.
It's good. And I'm not necessarily always into rom-coms, but there were some in the jokes in the beginning. I was just like, but then I did like legitimately like have a good ha 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 during the last however many episodes. I also binged The Gilded Age.
Wait, what was
It's
I
also very
watching?
good.
Oh, I was watching Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. That's
Right.
actually really good too.
Yeah.
I watched Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter again. Because Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is kind of in the same vein.
Yeah.
And Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is better.
Okay.
It's better. I mean, it's Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
And
Like it's
zombies.
literally that. Like what the title says it is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. I feel like I blew my spooky season load really early this month. Because I wanted to start watching stuff in September, and I may or may not have mentioned it here. I've already watched Christmas movies.
Yeah,
Because
you're doing a bit much.
Spirited is a fave. We're not doing anything next month.
Mm-mm.
No, because we're tired. However, we do owe you the Grinch.
Yes, I
We
will
do
try
owe you
not to
the
get
Grinch.
concussed this winter so that I can actually show up to stream.
Let's see. It's not on the calendar. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, we should do 2 movies because I have National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Oh, no, we do. Ha! Wait, we were tripping. We have 3 movies in December.
Did we do weekly for December too?
So December
What were we
3rd,
on?
we've got The Grinch. December 10th. Oh, wait, no. Oh, we have 3rd or the 10th, The Grinch. Okay, so we'll pick a day. And then on the 17th, we have National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which is a favorite of mine. So yeah, we'll decide which which day the Grinch is actually happening. We have it twice. Maybe we're gonna do like all the Grinches, but I doubt that. We're not so
No,
ambitious.
probably not. I don't want to go get over Grinched.
Yeah. I have a
Anything else
really
you
cute
watched?
picture of Tanya with the Grinch for a comment from Comic-Con, which we will talk about
I
soon.
know we should just do like a random Comic-Con stream. I don't know
Yeah.
when.
Me neither. What were you about to ask me? Something about the
Talk
Grinch?
about the Grinch. You said you had a picture of me with the Grinch. I think I was just asking you if there's anything else you watched.
Late Night with the Devil is a favorite thing that I've watched. I like it because it's a really fun and modern take on exorcisms. Possession. I take that back. And she makes it a point of saying, we don't call it possession, we call it psychic infestation. And I was like, that's right, take the church out of it. Psychic infestation, which I really loved, even though it was a demon. And I liked it because I would say that it's modern in the concept, but it's right now there's like this nostalgia for things from the 70s, right? So it's like a 70s late night talk show with this guy who like was kind of like a talk show host who like people will watch, but they're not really checking for them, not king of like the late night scene, but he's like on the verge, but his ratings are tanking and he just needs something spectacular to happen. And so he calls a medium on, and the medium is like doing medium things. And then he has his friend to bring this girl who she's been working with, who is allegedly infested with a psychic presence. And the thing I like about it is like they've got the on-air thing where like the show is live, but then when it cuts to commercial, you're still seeing what's going on behind the scenes, and people are shook.
What is this on?
Hulu, Netflix. Let me see. But it's the end of the month, so it's probably leaving. Late Night with the Devil.
Oh yeah,
it came out last year. That's why I watched it. I was like, oh, it's on Hulu. It's on Hulu.
I'll look for it.
And I think I watched it maybe on Prime. I don't know. But yeah, it was really good. I really actually enjoyed it. I swear I'm laughing for a reason. Yeah,
Because that movie is just so funny.
It's it was kind of funny, but it was yeah, I think if you need like a new type of scary movie, like give that one a shot. Because it wasn't like I tried to watch Immaculate, like some nun movie horror, and I made it like 20 minutes and I was like, this is fucking terrible.
I watched some other thrillers. I watched X and its sequel Maxine with 3 X's on HBO. It's through A24. The X is about porn production. They're like filming at an old farmhouse.
It's old.
And slasher film things happen, basically. And then the sequel follows one of the characters in a completely different story, but that's like gives context for their character. I accidentally
Mm.
watched the sequel first, and then there were things where I was like, I feel like they didn't explain that enough. And
Yeah.
then I found out, I looked it up, and then I was like, oh, it's a sequel. That's what wasn't explained. And I watched the sequel, and I was like, ah, okay, there we go.
Got it. Got it.
That's explained better.
I think I watched something else this weekend that was kind of scary. I was just like, I was in the mood. So I watched the things because like after October is just not going to happen.
No, I'm
Sorry.
going straight into Christmas on Friday.
Right back to like Christmas and regular fantasy things like Muppets Christmas movie.
Well,
Absolutely watching.
I have a
And
couple
The
I have
Otter's
to still
Christmas.
watch. I have to watch Midsummer because I still have never seen that. And
Is
it's a
that the
few
one
years
where it's like
old.
Pan? It's like it's got the guy
Flowers.
with the
No, no,
horns and
it's
flowers.
about this like festival that turns out to be like some kind of weird pagan thingy.
But not based on Midsummer Night's Dream loosely.
No.
Too bad. I like that play.
I've heard only good things about it, so it's something I've meant to watch forever and I never get around to. So I'll probably watch that this weekend. What else? There's something else I need to watch. I'm gonna continue watching some horror stuff, but I'm definitely gonna be slipping in the Christmassy things this weekend. But by this weekend, speaking of this weekend, we're also playing D&D at Dungeons and Drafts House this Sunday at 11:30 brunch time.
I have an extra ticket if anybody wants it.
Yes.
I unfortunately cannot make it because I
Yeah.
will be being a responsible and dutiful sister.
I'll be there.
Maybe I'll just drink Sunday morning just because in solidarity.
You should and send me selfies. I'm into it.
Yes.
I'm into it.
The nephews. The younger one is my cupbearer. He would love that.
I'm putting the kids in costume this weekend since husband won't be home to see them.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, so they're gonna get to wear their costumes Saturday.
Just for no reason.
because-
I love that. I mean,
Maybe
it's
we'll play
all
outside or
All
something, I
Saints
don't know.
Day, and Dia
De los Muertes.
Los Muertos.
Muertos.
Yes. So yeah, the veil is thin. So, blow out your candles or extinguish them with the little wick thingy and walk in your doors backwards. I know there's
cinnamon out your door.
There's cinnamon out your door. Sprinkle your things with salt. Do all the things. All the things. Yeah.
Well, what else do we have going on? We're taking a break. We give D&D.
We're taking a break.
We'll do a Comic-Con stream at some point. Just get on really quickly and just talk about it when we don't have like weekly streams happening.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to talk about Comic-Con at any time because it was my first time and it was super fun. It's probably the reason I'm having a hard time thinking about Halloween costumes because I want to go trick-or-treating.
Kind of blew your load.
A little bit, like all that. So I need to I'll figure something out because I have enough wigs and things to make it happen. But yeah, and I'm right now. It's like I'm trying to make my Goodreads book challenge. So
I've far surpassed mine, but I'm gonna keep.
I have
going.
like 5 books away, and so this is the time where it's like time to hunker down. So I am reading something. I did read The Lost Library, which I really enjoyed. Oh no, The Lost Bookshop, which I really enjoyed. And something else that I started. Having a little bit of a hard time with it, but I'm sure it'll get good. Yeah. Oh, also, if you have lasted this long or whatever, first of all,
congrats.
Bless you and congrats. But also, if you are here, here's our secret treat. It's Light Day on dragonsteel.com. Go to Brandon Sanderson's dragonsteel.com website and buy the things. All the things. The bundles, the enamel pins, the bookmarks, the teacups, the socks.
Have you ordered anything?
I did.
Me too. We'll talk about it after. All right.
I'm eating stale chips for dinner.
Yeah, I know the vibes. All right. Well, that's our stream. Follow us on all the things, and we'll be back here at some point. I don't know. Follow us on Instagram, and you'll find out what we're doing.
If and when
that's where we're. That's what's active, really. Twitter comes and goes.
Oh, I'm kind of on strike.
Well, in any case, good night.
In any case. Oh, you know what? You know what? I will say maybe we should stream on Tuesday next week.
That's not a bad idea. Let
Yeah.
me see. Make sure I don't have prior plans.
I'll take the edge off. I should take off the next
Oh,
week.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we should. Okay.
I think we're gonna stream next week. We'll be
Yeah.
back and we'll talk about Comic-Con or
Yes.
not.
Or just I don't know, laugh, cry, who knows? We'll see what happens. What plays
Hey,
out.
AK, welcome. You're in
Girl,
time.
you're in time to
for
say
us
good night.
or to say goodnight and also to join us here next Tuesday to escape the world.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it?
Yeah,
It's our stream now for real this time.
that's it.
Bye.